time in your mind, but you're not free. I see you want to be grounded, grounded like thee. He is the vine and we are the branches. Understand that this is all about authority. You can be free. You can
Thank you so much. Welcome everyone from around the world. Welcome to the You Can Overcome TV show. Awesome energy in this audience. It's awesome. Thank you so much. And I want you to know there is definitely energy here, and we have got a great thing tonight. We're going to be, we're on the Overcome TV show. It's now the episode 18, but it's time to hear the truth of why you're going nowhere with either whatever you're working on, whatever your stronghold may be. This is for everybody, men, women, children, you know, elderly people, everybody, your stronghold, no matter if it's, you know, the love of money, the praise of man, lust, whatever it may be. But you're going nowhere. And a lot of people are working on their weight and their weight loss. And we're going to learn tonight why we're going nowhere, and even why what you're trying is making you go backwards. So tonight we will discuss why quick fixes backfire. The most common thought for people entering way down is mixing their diets with God's principles of weight loss and hunger and fullness. I've heard that from day one. If I diet along with way down, wouldn't it go faster? People are caught up in the quick fixes and how long this will, you know, how long is it going to take for me to get my weight off? And that's the number one kind of thing on their mind. People tell themselves, look, we'll diet and get some of the weight off first. So forget way down. Let me just diet, do it my way, and then I'll just go in and apply the way down principles and just once and make that my lifestyle once I lose all the weight. But I am declaring the truth. It will not work that way. And once you see clearly why, you'll drop dieting forever. I know most people fear weight gain if they drop their dieting. However, do they not see that the dieting is what's making them gain more and more weight each year? People can't get it through their heads. Dieting makes you gain weight. It's a temporary loss, and then you're then more focused on the food, more in love with the food. It's all about this passion and greed for the food. It makes your greed greedier, more ravenous. Dieting will not work. We have a guest that has laid down quick fixes and can back this up as that what we're telling you is the truth.
65 pounds and totally gorgeous lady. Miss Stacy Sims.
Woo-hoo! Stacy. Please, everybody, have a seat.
Well, first, thank you for having me. Yes, I shortly after high school, I stopped being active in sports and started gating and just wanted it to come off quickly. It was coming on, and so then all I knew was to eat healthy or exercise, and that worked for a little bit. But then the more I did that, the more focused on myself I became. I became much more self-focused. It started consuming me, where I thought about, if it was good for me, bad for me, how many calories, how much I could eat of it, but it never went to my heart. And so it was, the more I did that, then the more weight I gained. And then the more weight I gained, the harder it was for it to come off. And I would try shakes and pills, the protein diets, mixed with exercise, and of course then that just snowballed into, it was just greed. I wanted out. I wanted I wanted to be free of all of it. And so I just cried out to God in my total misery. And 1 month later, I got to meet my husband and his family, who they had all done Way Down, and then shortly after introduced me to Way Down, and that was my quick fix, because my other quick fixes, they were not quick, they were awful.
You were ready for the truth by that time.
Yes.
And ready to hear it. And so you laid them down and lost your weight.
There is nothing like it. There's nothing like knowing that you get to serve God and not yourself all day, and you get to, ask God what He wants, and instead of waking up and go, God, I wonder what I want to do today. It's not about that. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. I wouldn't go back for anything. I wouldn't. It's the best. I mean,
well, look at I don't know if there's a picture of your family there, but look how blessed your life is. On top of just, this is a fun day, you go back in there and kind of forget, because you're a happy marriage, beautiful, healthy kids, kids that are in the Lord, worshiping God with you. Your finances are blessed. And you've got family around besides your saintly family. You are blessed from this righteousness. Totally, everybody's blessed from it. So you can't really figure out what kind of numbers somebody's pulling on Satan anymore when they hear this and they still reject it and don't do it. Like, what is Satan saying that would make someone not fall down on their face tonight and go, never again, I'm never doing it my way, I'm never doing it man's way, man-made rules, do not, it says in Colossians, do anything but for sensual indulgence, and indeed they add to it. So we do invite you to come and see for yourselves that this life of obedience is better than anything. Is that not right? All of us can experience and say yes to that. It's beautiful. So, very great. So, we'll call it a day. We'll see you next time on the You Can Overcome show. Thank you for joining us. Thank you very much. So, very beautiful. Great job, baby.
Up in heaven, angels dance 'cause they're free. Happy sing for eternity. With our God and His Son, Jesus, everything is peaceful and lightness. Happy always doing His will. Happy always doing His will. Overcome. Up in heaven, angels dance 'cause they're free. Happy sing for eternity. With our God and His Son, Jesus, everything is peaceful and lightness. Happy always doing His will. Happy always doing His will. Overcome.